Alright, so welcome to FL Studio Mixer Workflow. This is just going to be an overview video showing you what to expect out of our future videos. So as you can see, everything here is all color coded. It's all routed to their own mixer inserts, and I'm just going to play the track for you. You're going to see the levels. I'm going to kind of click around. I'm going to kind of open up plugins, kind of show you how I've set things up. And then in our further videos, I'm going to show you how to set this all up so that you guys can start mixing your tracks, and hopefully over your years you'll be able to achieve tracks kind of like this. So here we go. Okay, so let me just kind of break down what I've done, how I've set things up to achieve such a kind of full track, okay? So as you can see, this guitar chorus, which is number 7 here, so this guitar sound is routed to insert 7. And then what I've done is I've done some complex routing. As you can see down here, there's lots of different cables. And what I've done is I've just routed it to like a parallel compression. This is a technique to get extra thickness. I've routed it to a distortion. This is just again to get some more fullness / thickness, as well as to add some brightness. I've routed it to some stereo separation, which is a plugin you can use to increase wideness in your track. It makes things just sound bigger. And then I didn't actually add delay on. And in this case, I actually have 2 reverbs in this track, and I do that just to kind of give a different sound, just so that everything doesn't have that one reverb. And these are what you call sends, and they allow multiple instruments to use them. So for example, I have a verse guitar, and then I have a chorus guitar. They sound pretty similar at the moment. I'm not done mixing this track, but as you can see, this instrument is also using the same reverb as this chorus guitar. Further on, I cover sends with you as well as subgroups. So as you can see right here, this claps. This is a subgroup. So what's happening is all 4 of these claps. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. All of them are being routed to the claps sub. Okay, I should probably just go claps sub, okay? And now what's happening is, since they're all being routed to this clap sub, now I can apply reverb, distortion, or even on the actual subgroup, I can put EQ on, which is what I did here, and it's affecting all 4 of those claps as a whole. Okay, so if I were to put an EQ on the actual individual insert, then it just affects that one sound, but since they're all being routed to the subgroup, it's affecting them as a whole. Again, we cover all this further on in the course. I'm just kind of showing you what a more kind of complete track is in terms of color coding and that kind of stuff. So I'll just kind of cover the kick drum here. So I've applied some EQ onto the kick drum. I've applied some compression just to kind of mold the sound, because with a compressor you can be using it for kind of leveling out volume, or you can actually be using it to mold and shape a sound depending on your attack and release settings. And that's kind of what I did here. I just wanted a little bit more punch out of the drum, so I increased the attack to make it longer. But as you can see, what I've done here is I've actually routed it to the bass and this hi-hat sub and these rides, which is like a type of cymbal, but you can see that there's no volume in them. So what I've done is, if you right click, you can see that there's an option to sidechain, and that's all I did there. Okay, so I went sidechain, and what that does is on the actual bass sound here, you can see I've opened up a plugin, and I labeled it Sidechain, but this is just Pro C by FabFilter. Really awesome plugins. What I did was I included the external input, and then up here on this stereo sidechain, if I right click, I went kick. So what that's doing is it's allowing the kick drum to be an audio trigger that whenever the kick drum plays, it will lower the volume of the bass. And the reason why I did that is it allows for a cleaner mix, as well as it allows for groove, because in the low end of your music, frequencies can clash very easily. So whenever my kick drum plays, it will just lower the volume of the bass, but as soon as the kick drum's done playing, the bass will come back in. So that allows my kick drum to hit really hard, but it still allows my bass to be playing loud too, but they're not conflicting with each other. And the reason why I did it to the hat sub is strictly just for rhythm. So let's try that out, okay? So I'll go hats here. This is just like what they sound like. And what I've done on here is I actually put like a fruity pan-o-matic. I'm just kind of giving you a little overview, okay? So this isn't anything really specific to the course, just kind of giving you a general overview of what I've done. So this is like a pan-o-matic, and that just kind of moves the volume left and right of your mix. But now to continue with the course now, so this is sidechaining, okay? So it's to do with the mixer, and I have routed the kick drum to the hat sub to be an audio input, but it's not recognizing the audio, so you can't hear it because it's not enabled, right? So now when I turn on the kick drum, this is what the hat is going to sound like because I have a sidechain compressor on here as well. So okay, without it. Okay, it just gives like a little bit of a different sound, a little bit more bounce. And we'll check these rides out too because as you can see, I've routed it here as well. So let's go to just the rides now. So the rides just sound like this. They're kind of like cymbals. Okay, now with the kick drum, without it, so it's just kind of lowering the volume whenever the kick drum hits, and then it kind of swells back in just kind of gradually. I'll show you one more that I did here because I can see that the kick drum is also routed to the percussion, and for that I'm just going to have to move over here now. So I'll just turn on the percussion and it sounds like this. Okay, and if I turn on the kick drum, it sounds like this. Without the kick. And then if I turn off the sidechain, so in this case, I strictly use that sidechain compression just for bounce and kind of groove. But this is just kind of, again, a little overview video showing you how I've routed things around. But I'm going to break all this down for you, especially when it comes to like sends and understanding series and parallel routing, because on a send, for example, in the reverb, you want to make sure that the dry is all the way at 0 and you keep your wet at full. And that way on the guitar, you can just blend in what you want, okay? So let's just start at the basics. I'm going to show you how to actually route your instruments to your mixer, how to color code them, how to, label them, and get yourself organized, because when you're organized, it makes the process of mixing a lot more enjoyable as well as faster, especially once your mix starts getting complex. It's a lot easier to look around and fine-tune things quicker rather than having trying to find things when nothing's organized. Okay, so let's proceed further.